I have not heard any news on Xavier Worthy. I don't know, there hasn't been much release. Obviously, it's a clear dislocation. We saw it. We saw them pop his shoulder back into place on the sideline in week one. They've released no information. He's been a non-participant in practice all week,
Well,
but they haven't
didn't
given us a timeline. Andy Reid said he was day to day.
I was about to say that was then I heard Nick Wright talking about that he was considered day to day. So I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about, but
Well, I don't think there's
it's
anything to
definitely
worry about. I'm
fresh.
just wondering if he's actually going to play this week because he's also posted things on Instagram. He put out one of the pictures from the playoffs, I think, and then he posted also some lyrics about beating the odds physically and beating the odds mentally. So I'm wondering if he's not playing this week.
I mean, so it would be nice, but I don't think it puts the offense in a much different situation because the guy that we all really want back is Rasheed Rice. Like no offense
Yeah.
to Xavier Worthy, like he's just like a specific type of receiver, and it's hard to force him the ball when like nothing else is working, right? Like he can't be the only thing that's working well for the offense, and I'm not saying that he was out fairly early in that game, so he didn't really get a chance to make a difference, but yeah, I don't see Xavier Worthy being like an X factor. Like him being on the offense means that we're in a much better position to win against the Eagles. It's going to be ridiculously hard either way. So,
I think if healthy last week is probably a different story. And I think that probably has a lot to do with at least offensive game plan and whatnot, not only his abilities on the field. I think game plan wise, there's just a big difference that goes on in that game. This week, I think personally, I'd probably rather have him sit. Eagles have a good defense. They're very physical. You put
and
him
not
out
risk
there,
of a further injury.
and that's what I'm saying. Like if he comes back in week three, okay, they've deemed him well enough. If he comes back until not until week four, whatever. But like I think it's too early, and the risk of re-injury, even though it seems only a dislocation, no broken bones, no ligament or any other or musculature damage. Um, I
But
think
yeah,
this is
once
still too
once it
early.
comes out, it pops out much easier. So
Yes.
read like do a little bit of rehab, take care of the shoulder, make sure you lessen that risk of re-injury because once something comes out of the socket, it just makes it more easy for it to happen again.
I agree. Yeah, and even then, yeah, you're probably going to put a brace, some sort of brace on him to make sure that his arm can only get so high, and with that is going to limit his football abilities and his abilities to be able to make catches, especially if he's going to be running go routes and being able to dive one way or the other and make those catches, things that we saw last season. That becomes much more difficult. Uh, it probably makes the game plan also harder trying to put him in there and make things have to work because we've already got so much work that needs to be done. Changes that need to happen in game two versus the Eagles that we
I
saw
mean,
from game one.
realistically, all the stuff that we talked about from the Chargers game, I'd like outside of play calling that we can just cross our fingers and hope that our coaches figure it out. But like I don't see us like I don't see the problems being fixed for the Eagles. I can see us being able to work on them against a good team, but like this is a real tough this is a tough team that coming off the performance from week one, like I definitely don't see corrections being made that quickly, like coming into a just a really difficult ass game. I think we're going to
I
see more of the same,
uh,
unfortunately.
I don't fully disagree, but I do think a change gets made. Maybe not to start, but I think there's probably a plan in place sometime very early on in the game
For Jawan Taylor.
for Jawan Taylor. I think Juwan gets the start. Obviously, we won't know until game time, but I think he still gets the start. I don't think they'll remove him that quickly, but I think that there will be an opportunity within the first couple of drives where, hey, you're not blocking well, you're not able to cover. This defense is really good, and you're maybe you've had some of those false start penalties that are still an issue that we've seen it going into what year 3 with Juwan Taylor. Hey, it's time for Jalen Moore. I truly think that could happen in this game in quarter one.
Certainly wouldn't be against it, man. We're kind of at our wits' end dealing with offensive line issues, not just specifically Jawan Taylor, but all of last season being a real tough go for Pat passing the ball.
Yep.
Um, while we saw the left side anchored, we still have problems elsewhere on the offensive line. So it's
I
just
I
like it's gonna be good for the boys, like the guys that need the experience against tough teams. It's gonna be a good game for us, but man, the prospects are kind of dim, man.
I it seems dim, but this game plan for this game is also going to be different. Something that we've talked in group chats and on the podcast quite a few times is we do not believe in the throwing abilities of Jalen Hurts.
To take the quote right out of our group chat, he has poor arm talent.
He can sling it. I think the longer the pass goes, the less accurate he is. And I think he
Yeah.
has some shortcomings even in that mid range. Obviously, his average yards of passing this past week was very poor. They ran the ball a lot, but I think that can play into a strength that the Kansas City Chiefs have in terms of we do not necessarily have to play this game as if we're 2+ scores behind. Obviously, that happened in the Super Bowl. This is totally different circumstances. I don't think, and coming off of what we saw in Week 1 from the Eagles, I they clearly have the capabilities to boat race us, especially with the defensive side. But I don't think we have to play like they have or like they are boat racing us. Very much like against the Chargers, I felt like our game plan was very much, oh crap, we're going to be down quite a bit. We have to go out and sling the ball. Meaning, I think Andy Reid is actually going to run the ball this week. Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are going to get more than a couple touches apiece. I fully expect 20 rushing attempts between our two running backs against the Eagles this week,
It's a great
minimum.
expectation to have. Whether or not that actually happens is to be seen, dude.
To be
To
seen,
be seen.
to be seen, but it happened for a majority of last season. 15 to 22 carries on average for the running back room last season. I think that will happen this week, and that has to be a key to win. Is we have to run the ball. We have to be able to condense
I was gonna say, because
the
if it doesn't happen, I really don't think we have a shot of winning this game. If we come out with a
no
very similar game plan and the play calling's the same as week one, the Eagles will beat us.
100%, and it will not be close. It will not be close. Andy Reid, you have to run the ball this week. You've got to bring those DBs in. You got to pack in the box, and then you've got to like it cannot be 4 up front beating us again in this game. And if 4 up front is beating us, which again we've got a left tackle here, young, very good. Think he can get the job done. Juwan Taylor, if he gets moved out for Jalen Moore very quickly, I don't think we have those problems that we've been seeing. And the 4 up front isn't going to beat us like they did in the Super Bowl. I think change those things around, actually run the ball a little bit here. That's going to open up the game. And I don't think their DBs are as good as they were last year. The Eagles. I mean, still not taking anything away. This is a very good defense. I don't think the DBs are as good as they were last season, especially in the Super Bowl. And so I think there's some ability to be able to maneuver around some pieces as well. But running the ball, is a key for the Chiefs to win.
So I'll go opposite side of the ball, and the end of this, like the way I wrap it up, might be a little vague, but I did see someone do a little bit of film study on the Chargers game, and we had a situation. So Keenan Allen's corner route touchdown near the goal line, we gave him a certain look um, to to like we showed a look that just like the person that was doing the film study was like normally quarterbacks would check out of this play. Like I believe it was like a cover zero. There was going to be pressure or like certain looks where um the route that I'm trying to remember this. I'm trying to remember this. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Okay. It wasn't cover zero. Cover zero was the Quentin Johnston touchdown. But we gave a certain look on the goal line that like the guy doing the film study said any other quarterback would check out of his play. But Herbert has obviously seen this look before because he plays this all the time and probably done film to where he knew that the route combination that he had, the DBs were not going to be able to cover it. Okay. So through this film study, and what I'm trying to portray here is that the defense, Spags, needs to start switching up his looks. If we have quarterbacks that see something that we put out, like a look that we put out on the field a lot, and they have it figured out, they know that I don't have to change my play. I know the route combination is going to get me where I need to go. Spags needs to start switching up those looks a little bit. Like I'm the position that we're in, the long-term
Yeah,
success, like
yeah.
Spags probably has methods that are tried and true, but we like football is an innovative game, and once people start catching up to your tactics, you need to start changing it a little bit. So I want to see at least, especially since we just played this team in the Super Bowl, like there needs to be some disguises or certain looks on defense that the Eagles probably saw in the Super Bowl, and we have something changed to trick them or lure them into feeling like they have us figured out because like just going off of Spags's regular stuff, people have started to figure that out. Guys like Justin
Uh,
Hurts.
I would agree, and I would also go to say, disguising coverages is one of Spags' bread and butters, right? Like we
Which
can
is
go
why I
back over the
think
last
this type of feedback is realistic that our coach might make a change. Like,
and I agree. What I would say is I think we're also handicapped at the DB position. We've got some guys who haven't been there very long. We've got some guys who are young, some guys who in previous years played really well, and then last season did not. And so there could be some handicap capabilities, at least in game one, why it wasn't disguised as much. It's definitely a key to this game. I think it's definitely going to get changed up a little bit. But that could have been some of the reasons why is like our DB room is either fairly new and or young. Um, and so I think there's just some limitations in at least in week one why it was that way.
I mean, you say that, but they've been practicing together for
Whole off
months.
season.
Yeah. So I want because I feel like Spags does do this and can do this, but like we might be getting caught up to a little bit when it comes to his schemes and looks, but just, give the Eagles some looks that they saw in the Super Bowl and make some changes to where like we trap them, like the play the mental game where like, oh, you think you're getting this look and then now we back out of it or switch some like move around on the field to change up what the Eagles were assuming they were getting. Like we need to just be innovative and not let the rest of the league catch up to us when it comes like because the disguises and the blitz packages and the stuff like that's Spags wheelhouse. Like that's what he
Yep.
does. So continue with that And don't let the guys that are studying our defense like figure us out by tape. Like just keep it fresh. We should really focus on that for the Eagles because we just lost to them in the Super Bowl. They obviously had some things figured out about our defense, and we need to start switching it up so, like effectively. Like I don't know how else to put it, and it seems very vague, but
Yeah. Well, I think one of the pieces it'll be my final key to the game, but it stays on the same side because I don't think there's a whole lot offensively that necessarily needs to be adjusted. We saw in quarters 3 and 4, Pat obviously had to go Superman, and there's some play calling things that need to go on. But realistically, I think what we've got with the offense can get the job done. Defensively, what happened against the Chargers cannot happen again here against the Eagles if we need a shot to win. Defensive
it's going
line
to be
has
tougher to get to
to.
the quarterback this week.
This is a fantastic, and that's exactly where I was going. Defensive line has to do something because the Eagles' offensive line is one of the best in the league. Now they do have an injury with Landon Dickerson. He started this preseason, or he had in the preseason an injury. He then was limited most of last week and didn't finish last week's game due to I can't remember. I think it was his back. He had the knee injury in the offseason, then he had or preseason, then he had the back issue last week. He's been limited in practice all week so far. I expect him to continue to be limited. Will he play? I don't know as of this moment. But even if he does play, he's going to be limited. He's going to be hampered, and that needs to be attacked. This offensive line is very good, but we also know we have a good defensive line. It was one of the things we were more excited about coming into this season. If Chris Jones is going to take on the doubles, we need somebody else to step up and win one-on-ones. George Karlaftis, you had a motor until you got paid and then decided in game one against the Chargers that you weren't going to rush at all.
Put Leo on the edge.
Leo on the edge. Charles Omenihu, I saw you get absolutely flatlined multiple times against the Chargers. They also have a very good offensive line, but that cannot happen again. You cannot have offseason after offseason after offseason where you just talk all of this talk and then do absolutely nothing when you are trying to get paid. Because all you do is complain about not being paid for what you do. Well, you had a perfect opportunity in week 1 and you did shit with it. So here's week 2 against a very good team with one of the best offensive lines in the league. You need to show up. Spags, it's time for Ashton Gelati to hit the field. It's time. Get that man on the field for what we saw in the preseason. Again, it's preseason. Kid's got a motor, and kid's going to go out there and try every single snap. Get him on the field more often. And we've also been discussing, what's happening with Omar Norman Lott. Why is he not playing? Apparently, he is still slightly overweight. And one of the reasons why they aren't giving him snaps outside of the preseason is because they're trying to get him into a weight position. I don't care. He's not the 400 pounder from Florida who got cut by the Tampa Bay Bucks before the regular season. I don't care. This guy ate double teams for breakfast in college. The NFL is a different game, but I don't care. If you have him and Chris Jones side by side, one of them is getting double teams, and it's more likely going to be Chris Jones than Omar Norman Lott. I'm tired of seeing fat boy Derek Nottie out there and do absolutely nothing. We've seen it for 6 total years in Kansas City. I'm done with it.
Dude, Derek Nottie was a great depth piece before like he left. So
Depth,
don't
depth,
be
depth. The problem is he's a starter, and we also lost Tershawn Wharton, and we lost oh crap. Now I'm
Mike Dana
blanking.
or
No, Mike Dana. Mike Dana's on the outside. We lost Tershawn Wharton, and then we lost another defensive tackle whose mind escapes me at the moment. So that leaves us with Derek Nottie as the starter, who's a fantastic run stopper. So he's probably going to get a lot of utilization this week, as should be, because he is a good run stopper. But I also want to see Omar Norman Lott actually get some playing time. Will it happen? Unlikely, because he's
yeah,
overweight.
that's one of those tendencies that we know Spags doesn't. I mean, unless they're like first rounders and like we have to play them, like Spags doesn't play rookies.
Unless your name's Felix and Duque Uzama. Um,
He didn't even play his rookie year.
and he was a first round draft pick.
Oh, that's what you mean. Well, because he was bad. He was-
Still, but that's all I'm saying is like we've got the pieces there. You guys are complaining in the offseason that you're not getting paid for what you're worth and yada yada yada. Clearly nobody else is picking you up. Here you're handed two golden opportunities in week 1 and week 2. You shit it away in week 1. Well, guess what? Here's week 2. Go out and show the league that they should be paying you more, that there should be 31 other teams fighting for you. Here you go. Here's your option. Here's the opportunity handed before you. A minute you don't get flatlined out there multiple times. You got pancaked many times in that game. I don't want to see it happen again. That's the other key to the game for here is pressure needs to be created by the front four on the defensive side. Allow the linebackers to fill in gaps and find those holes when they go in rushing because it's going to happen with Saquon Barkley. We know that he's going to touch the ball. Got to be able to rush Jalen and have to be able to fill the holes. Cannot happen.
yeah, I mean, but honestly, that's the run game was our strength in week 1. We for the most
Very
part
good.
kept Saquon bottled up in the Super Bowl.
Yep. We've got a
Um,
game plan to do it.
yeah, it's like
Can't let him pass on us.
as good as Saquon is, I really I don't I don't fear him as like that much with our defense and the way we play the run. Nick Bolton making tackles. You know, our Derek Nottie, as you said, good run stopper. Chris Jones, pretty decent all the way around. Just didn't necessarily show it last game. Um, so yeah, I'm the run game on defense is probably one of the things I'm least worried about. But that also plays into what I feel like the Eagles would have to do to win this game is Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the ball like he did in the Super Bowl. Like
Yep.
the way the Eagles beat us is they have to do what Justin Herbert did and attack us downfield.
Yes.
Like the secondary was clearly the weak point on the last game. So the Eagles are going to have to get away from the poor average depth of target out of Jalen Hurts, and he's going to have to let it fly. Um, he's shown that he can't. I mean, even in the first Super Bowl we played against Jalen Hurts, like he showed that he could compete. Like he shows that he can throw the ball. It's not necessarily consistent when it comes to the regular season, but like he's shown he can do it against us. So that's
Yep.
how the Eagles beat us again. Is everything else stays the same, but Jalen Hurts has got to do this
Got to
thing.
let it go.
Got to
Got to
let it
let it
go.
go. And they have a wide receiver core to let that happen. You've got AJ
Yeah.
Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, who came in to the league and underperformed given his situations. Not necessarily all his fault, but he showed in week 1 for the Eagles that he can get it done. I think that's really the only key to victory for the Eagles, given what we've seen. Right, they play defense very well, run the ball very well. If Saquon's getting locked up, what is the one thing that they have to do? They've got Jalen Hurts has to move the ball
The
down the
rest
field.
of the keys to their game is like play like you know how to play. Like
Yeah, yeah,
don't do anything stupid. Don't spit on
yep.
anybody before the game and get kicked out. Like
Now that's the other thing. Jalen Carter's going to be back. That's gonna be a tough matchup for our
I'm
offensive
really not
line.
happy that that whole thing transpired. Like I would have taken all the allegations about the NFL wanting to keep the Chiefs as like the face of the league if they would have suspended Jalen Carter for our game, but like the fact that his suspension served was that first game, and he gets to come back the first NFL game he gets to play after that situation is against us. Like, dude's gonna be ready to take some freaking heads off, and I like already kind of hate that about him, but he's gonna be fired up for this first game, knowing that he
Yes.
didn't get a chance to go out week 1.
It also doesn't make sense that the NFL allowed this to happen. It does and it doesn't, right? Like he missed the game, he forfeited game check. It didn't even kick off. Like that does make sense, but this is going to set a very wild precedent because why are the Chiefs not immediately going, "Hey, with Rasheed, you want to play? You want to play? You were out all of last season. Why don't you either give back money or forego the next 5 game checks since you sat out week one and play?" What NFL would you allow that to happen? Like anybody who's been suspended, you take a weird situation. Not saying that Deshaun Watson should even be allowed to play football right now, but you take a situation like that. He sat out all of his time in Houston before he went to the Browns, and then it got his 10 game suspension. Could he not have said, "Take back this money or withhold my X amount of game checks for the next X amount of games, and then I'll just play for free"? Like whatever like this sets a very weird precedent for the NFL is all I'm saying moving forward with suspensions
Well, we know
is
that like
if the target is only that you also do not get paid, why don't I just forego the money?
yeah, I mean we've the Roger Goodell led NFL, it's always it's got a few head scratchers when it comes to policies and precedents and things like that. And this is just going to be another thing that they kind of have to weasel their way around. Like, oh, we did it like this time, but different circumstances, quote unquote. Like they're gonna
Let's
precedent is a weird
let's
word for it because I feel like they can. Roger Goodell is the
you
type
can.
is that type of governing body is just gonna like we're gonna have a decision on a certain case one way and then completely abandon it for the next one that comes around because
Yes.
it's not yeah.
The NFLPA won't allow that to happen too much longer as the CBA comes up. But to use this in an example of something that's upcoming, right? Quinshawn Judkins, the running back for the Browns, drafted from Ohio State, he's now finally joined the team, signed his deal after week one. The NFL is expected to give him a suspension. We don't know how many games of something that happened in the offseason. If it's only 1 game, or maybe it's 2 games, maybe he's not available to. If it's 2 games, he's not available to play in week two. But could he go and say, "Well, hey, week one I didn't play. Here's the money, whether you paid me or not, whatever that means." Does that not get 1 game off of my suspension, however many games it comes out of? If it's 1 game, could I not play in week two? That it's like I said, it's just a weird thing that's happening here. It's very dumb. I don't like that it's happening to us, but it's just more overall. This sets a weird thing for what may or may not happen in the future. And like you said, Roger Goodell can kind of just do whatever he wants until the new CBA is signed.
Yeah, I'm hate Jaden Carter. Jaden Carter? Jalen Carter. I hate Jalen Carter.
I am ready to pick this game. Do you have anything else?
Nah, man. And I mean, we know what the picks are gonna be because we are delusional Homer Chiefs fans.
That's right. Well, Tybo, you took last week, so I'm going to let you pick first. The Eagles are coming to Arrowhead, where the Chiefs are only 1.5 point favorites, dogs at the moment.
Chiefs.
You're going to hate me for this, but I'm taking the Eagles to win and cover in this game. I don't
Wow, so
think
like
out
what I
of
said like 5 seconds ago doesn't
yeah,
matter to you?
yeah. Well, you should know that also when we play the Bills, there's only been 1 time where I haven't taken the Bills in the regular seasons, which was last year. So as much
Garbage
as you
fan.
and Sean hate on me,
Why do you even have a Chiefs podcast, dude?
hey, I'm a realistic fan.
No, you're not.
Well,
Realistic
we
fans
do.
die for their teams. They bleed the colors of the jersey
Well, I do bleed red.
by default. Let me see the yellow because I'm not seeing it.
That's fair. Maybe in a few years, it might be in my eyes.
You expecting to get jaundice?
I was born with jaundice, so there you go.
Hmm. coming back for you.
There you go. Well, for NFL Week 2, Sean isn't here. He should be back for the Week 2 post game, is my expectation. But in his absence, I do have some fantasy tips for you. It is Tybob's Just the Tips.
Just his tip.
I've only got starters and benchers here for you, so we'll start off in Week 2 for fantasy football. My quarterback starter is Justin Fields as the Jets take on. Oh, I'm missing it now. They take on the Bills. The Bills defense allowed 40 points to be scored on them. I don't think it's necessarily going to
It
be
was the
another high scoring
Ravens.
game.
It was
I,
the
I don't think
Ravens.
I don't think it's going to be another like high flying game, but in terms of points, but they did allow 40 points to be let up on them. And I think from what we saw last week, the Jets at least have some firepower capabilities to get you fantasy points.
Tybob thinks Justin Fields is great value. Lamar Jackson.
Next up at running back, I've got Dylan Sampson, running back for the Browns. Had a tremendous week last week, and this is probably one of the final weeks you'll be able to use him as a
I was
starter
gonna say, like,
pending.
Quinshon Judkins being available. You don't think he plays in this game? Like, you
Quinshon
don't think he?
Judkins will not be available to play in this game. He will be receiving a suspension.
Oh, well, because the fantasy apps think Judkins is gonna play. Like they have him
Pre suspension.
projected. They have him projected to get points. So
Yeah. It being week 1, I would assume Dylan Sampson also plays the starting role, even if there wasn't a suspension. But it will be one of the final weeks that you can start him. So I would. Oh man. Here I'm going to go as a starter, Hollywood Brown at the wide receiver position. He's the number one target for the Kansas City Chiefs. Had a fantastic week last week, even though he can't create separation very well. He was still able to catch contested balls. Expect Patrick Mahomes to be throwing his way quite a bit against the Eagles. Second receiver I'm taking here, Travis Hunter. He did have 6 targets this past week, and the Jags will play a horrid Bengals defense. So
in
expect
honor of Sean's just the
honor of
tips.
Sean, just the tips. Take Travis Hunter and start him this week. If you were worried about his availability because he could be playing defense, that doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue here at the beginning of the season.
Did he
At
play any
tight end,
defense week 1?
6 snaps, 33 snaps on offense, 6 snaps on defense.
Okay.
At the tight end position, somebody that Sean says that has been on his perpetual sit-em list for a while. I'm taking Kyle Pitts as my starter for this week. The Falcons play
Buddy, I
the
don't want to hear
Vikings.
this out of you. I really don't want to hear this out of you. I don't.
Out of
I've been praying on this man's like comeback since forever. Okay? And everybody says he can't play football, he can't catch a ball. You specifically. Like I just given the little bit of film from the preseason and Michael Penix's little quip about like I'm going to make sure Kyle Pitts gets the ball. I was 100% confident that Kyle Pitts was going to be a starting caliber fantasy tight end this season. And you of all people don't get to take that from me.
I'm not taking it from you. I'm just taking it from the pure matchup. The Vikings allowed multiple tight ends to have multiple receptions against the Bears. The Vikings allowed that. And so, given the way that Michael Penix Jr. likes to sling the rock out there, I think there's availability for Kyle Pitts to have walk away in week 2 with at least another decent week in fantasy, especially given all the other tight end matchups as well. Greg Kittle being out for the next 4 weeks. Kyle Pitts, not a bad take.
You're the worst.
For my bench, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love. I'm benching him. Didn't have that great of a week last week in terms of fantasy points nor an overall stat box. Didn't play against that good of a team either. Didn't play against that great of a defense that showed out that week. I think he's getting a little bit better of a defense to play against this week, and his wide receivers still aren't necessarily showing out. I think they utilize Josh Jacobs quite a bit more this week.
You think the Commanders' defense is better than the Lions' defense?
On paper, no. This season, yes, due to coaching.
Okay.
Running back on the bench, Jalen Warren for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers do play
I would
against,
bench all Pittsburgh running backs.
yes,
Like beginning of the season projection for Caleb Johnson was like 10 to 11 points or whatever. As soon as you get like a couple days away from week 1, that projection dropped down to 2 points and he
he
got
was also
nothing.
listed as running back number 4 on the depth chart. He'll be
Yeah.
their starter within the next couple of weeks. I fully expect that, but
How
right
can you
now it's
say that?
fully expected. But
Yeah,
right
I
now
would
it is
bench
running
all
back
Steelers
by
running backs. Like don't even get a little excited about Kenny Gainwell getting 6 points last week.
no,
That
wouldn't.
the Steelers backfield is not worth a
Too much
roster spot.
too much by committee. Jalen Warren showed that he could be a receiving back last week, but even then, the opportunities are too sparse, and we know that Aaron Rodgers doesn't really like to throw the ball to his running backs either. Wide receiver coming from a game I just talked about to go on your bench, Deebo Samuel had a fantastic week 1. It was also against the Giants. I do not expect that trend to continue here against the Packers DBs, who are fairly solid and they do have a very good pass rush to get pressure. Jaden Daniels, so do not expect Deebo Samuel to have a repeat of week 1.
Interesting.
Second wide receiver who also had a fantastic week 1. It is Keon Holman. They are going up against a very good, very solid Jets secondary. Did give up 4 touchdowns to Aaron Rodgers. Think that may have been week 1 butterflies. Expect Khalil Shakir to probably get a little bit more of the share than he did last week as well. So Keon Coleman, do not expect a big week out of him. Final,
Those are a couple hot takes there. You might get
yep,
burned on the bench.
might, but I'm going to give you another one here. Tyler Warren, tight end for the Colts, had a great week last week, a 14 or 15 pointer. Going up against the Broncos here, it would be an asinine take to go ahead and start him. You probably don't have a choice if you drafted him because you drafted him very early on. Would be the expectation if you're not in a dynasty league. But the Broncos defense is very stout. What we saw in week 1 for the Colts against the Dolphins, I don't know if we see that again. They looked really good, but the Miami defense is putrid. It's ugly. They're going to have a horrible year this year, the Miami Dolphins. I would not expect anywhere close to a repeat to what we saw last week, even as such to say as if you have Jonathan Taylor, like I do in a couple of leagues, there's another one, bench him too.
Wow.
And that is
Crazy.
just the tips.
Crazy take. Crazy take, dude. But that's kind of more what I want out of just the tips. I don't want things that are going to be locks. I don't want things that are going to be
Exactly.
like common sense. I want the unexpected. I want you to you know,
Sean, take note.
yeah, I want
This
Sean
is
to
this is what it's supposed to be.
to
This is what we've been asking for.
try to predict the craziness.
You got to get the craziness. There's no locks. If maybe if this was a fantasy football show, we could do all that and talk about the locks and what they're going to do. But it's not. We're just here to have fun.
Just the tips.
Just the tips. Speaking of just the tips and not covering the full scope of the week, we have got our games of the week. Tybo, I believe you
What
are going to
kind of
take.
issue was that?
Don't worry about it. I
I
think you're going
got
to be
the
taking Thursday night's game.
I got the Thursday night game.
Thursday night.
Commanders Packers. Both teams 1-0. They will thin the herd of the undefeated in the NFL. Because neither team or both teams cannot be 2-0 after this game. Um, Packers defense. I think they're going to be one of the best in the NFL this season. But the Commanders are an up and coming, really exciting team. I just feel like it's going to be tightly contested. I really do. Plenty of weapons for the Commanders. And they played a team like the Giants and got to shake out a little bit of the kinks. Like they didn't have like a dominant game by any means, um, but they definitely shook the rust off and were happy with the result. You know, obviously getting a win. So I'm big on the Commanders. As skeptical as I was last season of Jaden Daniels, there's still a healthy amount of skepticism. I don't think he uses the whole field consistently, and I think that's just like a learning curve as a young quarterback making the transition to the NFL game. Um, so he's constantly getting better, and I think that's probably what I admire about him the most. Um, and it's gonna be a tough test with the Packers. I don't like Green Bay. I don't like Jordan Love, but I do like Micah Parsons on that defense, and I like a lot of the playmakers that they have. So really, if you want to just take the Commanders offense versus the Packers defense matchup, that's more of the game of the week to me than just this game. That's really what I'm going to be watching. Every time the Commanders are on the field, I'm going to be glued to the TV, or the Commanders offense is on the field, I'm going to be glued to the TV. But yeah, it's going to be a good game. Not par for the course for Thursday night games, but it's going to be a
That's
good game.
I was actually going to say pretty much the same exact thing. If I was to say one thing favors in this matchup to the commies more than anything, it's their ability to what they're going to be able to face offensively, and that means pass rush. Pass rush for the Packers is really good. You've got Micah Parsons. This is something that could potentially be worrisome for most quarterbacks, unless you're Jaden Daniels, who's been able to move on his feet very, very well, move around the pocket. That's going to be the matchup to watch. 100%, no ifs, ands, or buts. Is because the question coming into this season for the commies, everybody's on the commies, is they did not perform against playoff teams last year. They went 1-4, and the one game that they won was the Eagles' second game when they already had the division locked up, and ultimately the number one seed. They could go ahead and rest. So the commies realistically they need to show that this season is not the same as last. And so those are the two big pieces here is are they the same as last year where they're losing to playoff teams? What regardless of what we think about the Packers, they are a playoff team, at least from last year. And see if they can come out on a better foot.
Yeah, this would be a textbook statement win for the Commanders. Like it does way more in my mind. It does way more for the Commanders to win this game than it would be the Packers. I
Yes,
still feel
100%.
like, yeah, I still feel like coming out of week two, 1-1, the Packers still probably see a lot of success in the season. Especially if I'm predicting that they have one of the best defenses in the NFL throughout this regular season. But yeah, the commies coming out of week two, 2-0, and beating the Packers, as you said, a playoff team from last year. This would do so much for a young team, relatively new coaching staff. Like this would do wonders for a young team in the Commanders.
Packers losing this game would bring some big concerns. Losing this
I
game
don't
does
think it
worse
does.
for them
I
than
just
winning
said
this
like I
game.
feel like coming out of week two, 1-1, their defense is good enough that I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, fair.
I also just don't think Packers are true contenders.
I
They
don't
will
either.
have a great defense. This Micah Parsons addition gets them a little bit closer, but I still don't think they're like true contenders. They're a good NFC team, but a Super Bowl contending team, I'm not sure that they're that.
Well, a
No,
game to keep
I'm not
your
going to say the word sure. I know that they're not that.
a game to keep your eye on here in week two. We're not sure if it's a game of the week. It definitely has the possibilities
We're
to,
we're
but
calling it a game to watch.
it's a game to watch for sure. We've got the Broncos and the Colts. The Colts at home are 1.5 point dogs. The Broncos definitely underperformed to the expectations in week one to a we don't know what the Titans are. We're still going to call them a bad team at the moment because they've got too many pieces. They're too new. They're too young in areas that are most important for a team. The Colts overperformed. We had no actually, I can't even say that they overperformed. We had no expectations for him. There was no Anthony Richardson. Daniel Jones was a failed quarterback out of New York that didn't really do anything elsewhere when he got cut. The Colts, we had no expectations for, none whatsoever, and they came out and they had a fantastic game last week. And so this is just something to keep your eye on. As Tybo explained it to me earlier, we've got a team that had no expectations and a team that had expectations, and they were flip flopped in the way that they performed. And so let's see if this can't be a fantastic game. It could also be a really shitty game. Who knows?
Yeah, and the Broncos were lucky to win that week 1 game because if they would have come out of week 2 0-2 to the Titans and the Colts, everybody, including everybody in the Broncos organization, would be panicking about the season. There's
Still
still a
should
little
if
bit of
they lose
concern.
this week.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of concern with how they performed in week 1. If they go ahead and lose to a team like the Colts, maybe that Broncos roster isn't everything we crack it up to be.
Defensively, still very good. There's no question about that. Offensively, there's some questions that they need to get figured out in week two. My
I just know
game
that
of
like that
oh yeah,
first the first half of that Broncos Titans game, neither team looked like an NFL team. That
no,
that
no,
that first
not
half
at
was
all.
pretty bad
Looked like a typical Thursday night football game.
for real.
Well, final game of the week. This is not a game to watch. This is a game of the week here. I'm taking Sunday night football, Falcons versus Vikings in Minnesota, who they are 3.5 point favorites at home. I am very surprised that Vegas is siding with the Vikings here, even though the Falcons took a loss in week one. It was to Tampa, who was the division winners. It was a last second field goal miss that could have gone into overtime. We've covered that quite extensively. I'm very surprised that Vegas is swinging towards the Vikings, given how poorly JJ McCarthy played in 3.5 quarters of that game. Fourth quarter was very, very good for them. They got the ship taken care of, but I think it was more of a blunder from the Bears than it was anything that the Vikings did necessarily fantastic. I think the Bears just collapsed.
But yeah, the the
The
three the 3-5 spread with the Vikings being at home means they just favor them by a half a point.
half, yeah, still that's very surprising because I think the Falcons performed very well against a very good Titan or Tampa Bay offense and defense. They did very good. They had ebbs and flows in the game. I honestly don't know if this game's very close. I don't because I like the Vikings, or excuse me, I like the Falcons defense. I really like the Falcons offense and the things that they can do now that they have a quarterback who's not afraid to sling it and can move around in the pocket.
Or at least has the ability to sling it. He's not working on a repaired Achilles, and
Yeah,
he's not
like
pushing 40.
he's also not afraid to go out and make a play. That's one of the things that we can always say about Kirk Cousins, no matter where he was, injury or no injury. There were times where you saw Kirk Cousins play and he looked like he was afraid to make a play happen. He could let it sling when he's down and he's trying to make the game come back, but when he's got a lead or he's anywhere near being tied, like you just don't know what you're going to get from Kirk. And that's the thing with Michael Penix Jr. is he's going to go out and no matter what, he's going to leave it on the field. He's going to try and always make a play and keep them either ahead or within in a shooting distance. Vikings, there's just too many questions. They did not run the ball well. Wide receivers couldn't get too much separation, but also JJ McCarthy was running for his life for 90% of that game. So just he's got these intangibles where he throws a 74-yard pick six and he goes in and he's got confidence in the team and he's trying to hype him up. Guy seems to be a leader, at least with what we saw against the Bears. I don't know how long that lasts against the teams that they're going to have to play this season.
Yeah, I'd probably lean the Falcons' way as well. Um, but getting wins on the road is tough in the NFL. So
Tough.
I
It's
can't
tough.
I
It's
can't
definitely
say
not.
I can't say I blame Vegas for the spread and choosing leaning the Vikings way. But
They've definitely got a
personal
good home
opinion,
crowd in Minnesota too. Like that. That
yeah.
is no joke. They're loud. They're rowdy. They show up. There's not much else to do in Minnesota during this time of year. But I digress.
You go fishing.
Yeah, they got a lot of lakes out there.
You can always go fishing up there.
Well, I think that puts us here to get picks against the spread. As of right now, Tybo is the loser, 5 wins, 11 losses. Sean's in second place with 7 wins, 9 losses. I'm there sitting even at a solid 8-8 to start off week one. We will get Sean's picks in, but we will not record them this evening on air with you. So we don't have them in yet. So we'll start off with Thursday night football game of the week, number one, Commies versus Packers in Green Bay, and they are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I'll take the commies. I think if they don't win this game, it'll be closer than 3 points.
I don't know if the Commies can overcome the thoughts we have on them in losing to playoff teams. I don't know if they've made enough adjustments. And for that reason, I'm taking the Packers. Starting off our Sunday slate, we've got Bills versus Jets. This is in MetLife Stadium. The Jets are 6.5-point dogs at home.
I'm gonna. The Jets keep it within 6. I take the Jets.
I, I'm right there with you. I have the Jets keeping it under 7. I have them keeping it under 7. Next up at noon, we've got the New York Giants. They're headed into Dallas, taking on the Cowboys, who are 5.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, considering the main reason why they lost the last game was CeeDee Lamb dropping a bunch of passes, I'll go ahead and take the Cowboys here. I think he
You're
can
you're
catch a ball this week.
you're saying considering that they lost last week because of you're just talking about the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Giants and
No,
how horrid they
let's not.
were. Russell Wilson was 17 of what, 32? Just barely over 50%. They had no run game. Defensively, they were awful. I think they scored 6 total
Hey,
points, and that
but
was at the end of the game.
Scattaboo or Scatabo like broke a couple tackles, right?
Yeah, give me the
That guy,
Cowboy.
that
That
guy's gonna have the worst case of CTE when he's like
it's going to be bad.
40. Like
40?
it's
Brother's not going to be out of the league before he has CTE.
I
He's going to be the next AB.
I understand. Like we all love a good power run style, but like
Sure.
if how you attack a defender is just head forward into them, brother, you will not make it very far in the league.
He doesn't only do that with running, by the way. He does the same thing when
With
he
blocking.
with
Yeah.
blocking. It's just
He
helmet
thinks his
first
head
every
is a
time.
missile, and I hope he gets penalized at some point in
Have
this
to.
season
Have to.
for helmet to helmet contact. But like, God, I don't think I've ever seen that call on like someone blocking. But I
It's gonna
if
happen.
there's an instance where it happens, it's gonna be fucking Cam Scatabo, dude.
Well, next up at noon, we do have the Cleveland Browns. They're heading into Baltimore, where the Ravens are 11.5-point favorites at home.
Who'd you say they're playing?
The Browns.
Oof. The Browns keep it within 11.
I'm saying the same thing, dude. We saw some big spreads last year, and none of them panned out. There was maybe like 1% of the big spreads panned out last season. It doesn't happen.
It's
I
an
don't care how bad
infusion.
the Browns are.
It's
This
an
is the
infusion.
AFC North. It's the AFC North. When do they ever play each other and it's more than 10 points?
Don't know.
Next up at noon, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're heading into Cincinnati, taking on the Bengals, who are 3.5-point favorites at home after a putrid week of 64 air yards by quarterback one, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I honestly think that changes. I don't think you have 2 weeks back to back where they don't throw the ball. Um, so I'll take the Bengals.
Taking the Bengals to cover. I don't think it's necessarily another bad week in terms of passing. I also just think that the Bengals have potentially the worst, like the Saints exist, right? The Bengals have the worst defense in the league, even with Trey Hendrickson
The,
coming back.
the
I,
Saints are technically an NFL football team, but the Bengals defense is worse.
I told you to take Travis Hunter for a reason. I actually think the Jags pull out a win here.
On the road, okay.
Next up, we've got the 49ers versus the Saints. This one's in New Orleans, and they are 3-point dogs at home.
That spread seems a little low. I know the 49ers didn't do great in week 1, but I'll still take the 49ers here.
I will allow you to change your answer when I give you this information because I'm not sure if you fully know it was just released today. Kittle is on IR. Brock Purdy also will not be playing in this game. It will be
Oh
Mac
shit.
Jones.
Oh. 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 Actually, you know what? Mac Jones played well when he filled in last season for the Jaguars. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my 49ers pick, dude. It's only 3 points.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I am going to take the Saints in this game. I
He's
don't
gonna
know if they,
hand off that ball and dink it and dunk it to Christian McCaffrey enough times that they win by 4.
yeah, Christian McCaffrey blows out both knees and ankles by quarter two. By the end of quarter two, like
Just from overwork.
his usage rate is going to be 100%. So if you have him play him, just know he's going to be done by the second half.
And like, man, who was it? Was a former Panthers player. I cannot remember. It was it Miles? Someone who ran like was a backup to Christian McCaffrey was like, dude, he doesn't come out of the game. Like he doesn't take a break. Like I'm trying to get some carries over here too, dog, but no. Like
Well, we've got a couple of games here left in the noon hour, but our next one is the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to be heading into Nashville, Tennessee, taking on the Titans, who are 5.5-point dogs at home.
was the Titans last week? For Christ's
They
sake,
lost
I'm
by
having
8 to the Broncos.
such a hard time getting my words out right now. Was that game in Denver or Tennessee?
Was Denver.
Hmm.
Let me confirm on that, but I got it right here, but I'm pretty sure it was Denver. Yeah, it was Denver.
The Rams did beat the Texans, and they have a pretty good defense. So I don't know if the like how decent the Titans defense will really affect the Rams. So yeah, I'll take the Rams.
I'm also going to take the Rams in this one. Titans just look really bad, man. I just don't like they can't catch the ball. Cam Ward is if they can start catching the ball, I'll be able to change my opinion. But until the receivers start catching the ball, Cam Ward can put it on their numbers all he wants. They had opportunities in that game to win against the Broncos, and the receivers literally just couldn't catch the ball. Next up in the noon hour, we've got the Chicago Bears. They're heading to Detroit to take on the Lions, who are 6-point favorites at home.
Bears keep it within 6.
Here's the funny thing, Tybo, is I picked all of my games before the show. I have them written out here. I'm only typing down your games. I also took the Bears. Keep it in within 6 because I don't trust the Lions defense without Aaron Glenn at DC.
We're just going off the information provided from week 1.
That's right.
They didn't play great.
2 games left in the noon hour. We've got the Seattle Seahawks. They're taking on the Steelers, who are 3-point favorites at home.
Seahawks.
Wow, that's an interesting take with how bad they played last week. I'm taking the Steelers. Last game at noon, we've got the New England Patriots. They're heading to Miami, taking on the Dolphins, who are 1.5-point favorites at home.
They're favored over the Patriots, you said?
Yes.
Patriots.
Not even a question. Taking the Pats. We jump down to the 3 o'clock hour games at 3:05. Our first one here is the Carolina Panthers taking on the Cardinals, who are 6.5-point favorites at home.
I I think the Cards cover. Cards.
Don't do that. You wanted to give me shit for Kyle Pitts. Don't you dare sit here and take the Cardinals on a 7-point spread when you want to talk shit for multiple years about Kyler Murray.
I'm not. This doesn't improve my
Don't you
opinion
dare.
on Kyler Murray. We're just.
Don't you dare.
Again, we're going off the information provided in Week 1, and the Panthers. Not. I mean, Bryce Young looked like he regressed from the end of the season last year. Like it doesn't.
Yes. I hope Bryce Young can figure it out. He had a great ending 5 games towards the end of last season. Hopefully, at some point they can figure it out. But so far, got to take the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Last second game and last game at 3:05 kickoff. We've got the game to watch in Indianapolis. It's the Broncos taking on the Colts, who are 1.5 point dogs at home.
Colts.
I am taking the Broncos here. The expectations are wild, or non-expectations are wild for the Colts. I don't think offensively Daniel Jones can keep it up against this good of a defense. We've already chosen the Eagles Chiefs games at 1.5 spread there in Kansas City. If you're listening to the full show, obviously you caught it. If not, go and listen to the Chiefs show on YouTube in the clip. So we'll get to Sunday Night Football. Final game of the week. It is the Falcons. They head to Minnesota, taking on the Vikings, who are 3.5 point favorites at home.
Yeah, and I'll take the Falcons.
No question. I think I gave that one away earlier. We'll get to Monday night. Monday night has 2 football games, one at
Monday
6,
night.
one at 9, our 6 o'clock Monday night football game. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll head into Houston to take on the Texans, who are 2.5 point favorites at home.
Do they get beat twice at home to start off the season, man? Like it's but the Rams and the Buccaneers, I don't feel are like that different of teams. Like they're very similar caliber in my mind, and I thought the Texans could beat the Rams last week, but I was very sorely disappointed. So like,
And seeing the chemistry that Baker
do
Mayfield
I?
has with Egbuka,
Yeah, I mean, but like, do I try to predict a bounce back for him? Like, because he's starting the season off 0-2 at home would be awful, man.
it would be, but they haven't changed. The Texans haven't necessarily changed their form
Or
from
was
last
was that at
season
home or
either.
did they go to L.A.?
It was LA.
It was in L.A. Whoops,
Yeah, it was in LA.
tartar sauce. Well,
Even
ah,
if it
man,
was at home, they'd be going 0-2. I'll give you mine. I'm taking the Bucks.
I was just about to say it. Bucks.
Bucks it is in our final game for NFL Week 2, Monday Night Football at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers. They're headed to Vegas in an interdivisional matchup. The Raiders at home are 3 point dogs.
Chargers.
Not even a question. We've got a lot of the same picks, but I feel like week 2 is pretty flat. And even with that said, being flat, I think we're going to get a lot of answers this week on who teams are. Week 2 doesn't generally, week 1, week 2 generally doesn't present that type of information. I think with what the matchups that we're getting, week 1 and week 2 will tell us exactly who the teams are until obviously maybe injuries happen. They always do, until something awry goes on. But I think we're going to get the earliest indication of who these teams are than we've had for quite a long time.
Not exactly sure what the hell you mean by that, but football.
Football. Week 2 is
They're starting a
underway. The
Monday night game at 9 p.m. Central.
9 p.m. Central, dude. It's awful. I don't
Is that
like that.
normal for the doubleheader?
Yes. It can be. Yes, it is. It is normal for that.
It just
I
seems
was gonna
really
say
late.
5, 5 and 8, but usually, actually, I shouldn't even say that's normal. Usually, they do a 6 p.m. kickoff, and they do like an eight
Yeah, I
thirty,
didn't
seven
think the
thirty, or
second
eight
game was
p.m.
usually that
kickoff.
late.
It's not usually. They usually try and coincide kickoff of the later game with halftime of the earlier game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that worked out so well last year, even with the multicast. But either
Are
way,
the
NFL
Mannings
week
still doing the
they
Manning
they
cast?
are they are still doing the Manning cast. They did it last week, but I don't know. It's not every game. It's not every Monday. The Manning cast. So I don't know what their schedule looks like for this year. They could be shoring it up so that they do every Monday, but it hasn't been in the past. Well,
Yeah,
NFL week
it's gonna suck to see the Chargers go 2-0.
it is going to suck. It is, but it's going to be even sweeter when they don't win the AFC West, as all the pundits continue to predict every year for 30 years in a row now.
That's a long time. I'm 30 years old.
Me too.
Nuh-uh.
Well, NFL Week 2 is underway starting tomorrow. Thursday Night Football is your kickoff, and we'll be back next week to cover everything that has happened. Tybo is going to be screaming it from the stadium this week as the Chiefs play at home against the Eagles. So make sure to stay tuned. Check back in next week for everything that had happened. And as always, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs!